Parents of Reddit with teenagers, is there anything you wish you would have done in regards to how they were raised? Currently the parent of a 6-month-old, so no personal experience but have been giving it a lot of thought recently. The absolute stupidest thing my mum did when I was a teenager was not respecting my desire for privacy. I asked her when I was about 15 to stop sharing things I told her in confidence with her friends, and she said she wouldn't stop because it's how she processes things. So guess who never went to her with problems, and still doesn't now? I tell my best friend almost everything, privately, and my best friend knows how to keep a secret. The fact that you found out is understandably upsetting. I got very lucky raising my child. I certainly wasn't perfect at it. The biggest thing looking back was that it took me a good solid minute to realize that there was a transition from packing lunches, tucking into bed, putting band-aids on owies to becoming a non-judgmental sounding board for her struggles. I had to learn to take myself back in time to see things through the eyes of a teenager rather than dismissing through eyes of a middle-aged adult. That caused a little bit of trouble between us, but we got through it and came out better for it. Ordering instead of guiding is a mistake. Parents should be a beacon instead of roadmap. Many a times we start imposing our ideal image on them and that can trigger the rebel in teenagers. I feel that is one mistake most parents do. I have 2 teenage girls and I wish I would have taught them when they were young how to speak up for themselves, to not be afraid to just tell other people what they want, what they don't want, etc. They are both extremely tentative and apologetic. I think I went overboard teaching about self-awareness, and it manifested into a lack of assertiveness. I worry most about their future romantic relationships, and them not being comfortable setting boundaries or saying no. There's still time to change this. Talk to them about it. If you feel it is also an issue you face, just say that, and say that you want to grow with them. Maybe go do an empowering activity, like axe throwing or something. My kids are 20 and 21 now, and they are both amazing in very different ways. Looking back, I'd say there are 2 things I would change. Firstly, I wish I had learned to be more positive. After years of negative parenting from my parents, it was a hard one to shift. The other thing would be saying no more often. So many things they would have appreciated more if they had worked for them. Other than that, learn that each child is amazing and unique and one size does not fit all. Don't compare your teens to others. Just enjoy their achievements as individuals and help them become their best rather than measure them against generic standards. Are they happy? If so, you did good. Less fussing yelling on my part. If your kid isn't going to be valedictorian, then a C is still passing. And in the end the grades didn't really matter. They can still go to college, trade school. They will still be successful. No one has asked for transcripts yet in a job interview. Not a parent, but when I was younger I wish my parents would have praised me about all the great things I achieved rather than listing everything I didn't do. Catch them doing something good instead of catching them getting in trouble. I try hard to remember this, but it ain't easy. As someone that was raised by sweet but clueless parents, please, parents of Reddit, let your kid make their mistakes in life, and when they do make a mistake, talk to them about it and explain that everyone makes mistakes and that way you can learn best. That's where you grow as a person. Help them to help themselves. Don't help them cause you wanna help them, if that makes sense. Also, please don't guilt trip them when they make a decision in life. Talk to them in a calm manner and explain to them why you disagree with their decision and that no matter what, you'll support whatever they wanna do. Talk to them, make them know you trust them, and make them know that you love them and that they are strong. In short, be their role model of a perfect human being. Make them wanna be like you when they grow up. Say no more often to frivolous requests, and let her make her own mistakes earlier on, to more effectively learn that her actions have consequences, sometimes forever. Yes, I'm her daddy, but if I could go back in time 10-15 years, I would do these 2 things better. I'm not the parents but the now adult. Don't shelter, because you can't. When I mean sheltered I mean Christian private school near all my life, church in Sunday, and only allowed to listen to Christian music. No Harry Potter. I wasn't even allowed to watch The Simpsons till I was maybe 15. My bubble was so small. I went out into the world so shiny and dumb cause my parents thought they could protect me. I socially embarrassed myself so often because to me it was so black and white. And here we are Christians and out there they errant and think you're stupid for being a Christian. If I saw a worldview different from my own I sort of just assumed that's what everyone else thought. Now oftentimes when I am on my own I am completely helpless cause mom and dad aren't around to do it for me. And then when I ask for help it's the same overbearing do it for me routine. I often keep milestones from my parents and accomplishments failures because I want it to be my failure to learn from not my parents to fix. My parents and I just had a fight today and it's really shaken me up. It stemmed largely from the issues with my dependence and life expectations. I'm back living with them after 2 years on my own following my fiancé and I breaking up so I am very protective of my independence. I love them I really do and they want the best for me truly I know. I just wish they understood me but I don't even understand myself yet so it's hard. I wish I could have explored and gotten closer to finding myself when I was younger. Be free, be happy and love yourself. If someone gives you drugs at a party cut it in half. I would have loved signing Tina up for sports but due to commuting that wasn't possible unfortunately. That's definitely something I regret and something I think she missed out on. Otherwise I'm honestly proud of my kid. Yes, she drives me nuts at times but isn't that the case with all? My son isn't a teenager yet, but I can tell you what I wish my parents had done for me. I wish they would have been happy with what I accomplished. Instead, anytime I would try something, they would tell me how I could do better. The thing is, they didn't do it in a critical way, it's more like they were too supportive. When I went to culinary school, it was someday you could have your own TV show music. Wouldn't it be great to be in a prestigious orchestra? It's like, they always believed in me and expected the best, but they never seemed proud of what I had actually done. Another unrelated thing, I wish they would have recognized my stimming behavior. Among other things, I rock back and forth when I'm upset, and shockingly, getting yelled at for rocking back and forth didn't freaking help. Same for hand flapping, I learned that getting excited about something and flapping my hands embarrassed them, so I felt like they were ashamed of me. As a recently former teenager, 21 now, I would say the worst thing is when arguments would happen and my parents would default to it's my house, my rules type argument finishes. I lost a great deal of respect for their views and opinions, since they couldn't back them up. When your kids are little, try everything for the eating vegetables category. I made clean steamed veggies with a little salt and butter. Kid was not a fan. Watched my sister-in-law feed her kids veggies sauteed in garlic powder. They all taste the same, and dipping sauces etc. I was too pure. Kids need to be offered everything. I watched other people's kids eat sheets of nori, seaweed, straight up. Just try everything under the sun in the veg category. Everyone who grew up with strict parents, I'm going to give my child the autonomy I never had. Everyone who grew up with corporal punishment, I'm never going to hit my children. Everyone who grew up without direction, I will guide my child to a healthy, fulfilling life. Everyone when their kid starts acting like an extra from Malcolm in the Middle, if you don't get off that chandelier I swear to Christ I am going to ship you to a Chinese circus. I have 2 teenagers. I don't know yet if there is anything I would change. We'll have to see how they turn out. I love reading everyone else's comments, though. I adore my teenagers and I've always been very communicative and affectionate, which I think parents sometimes shy away from too much with bigger kids. I wish I had them do more tasks for themselves, chores, etc. But we are working on it. They are both A students, and I do fuss about their grades. But I'm right there helping them, and giving them tools to improve instead of just dictating. I'm a returning college student and they see I practice what I preach. I'm right there with them. I worry about balance, pushing them too hard or not enough. We are paycheck to paycheck people and I don't want them to struggle as much as I have, and growing up with no support structure makes me fuss over them more. I enjoy the heck out of them. My 17 years old daughter is brilliant and opinionated, political and loves trivia and good music. My 14 years old son is brilliant too, a talented pool player, and the wittiest comedian. I can't believe how much we all laugh and genuinely enjoy each other's company. I'm pretty lucky, and I hope they stay this happy always and find success in life. They have to, or I will lose my crap. Also, I read an article years ago that was maybe in Time magazine. Things super siblings shared, like highly functioning adult siblings. Things they had in common with other families of successful sibling groups. Look it up. It was interesting. I try to follow some of those, as much as I can. If their friends are generally good clean-cut people, let them hang out till all hours of the night on the weekends, at least within reason. Also encourage them to come over and hang out at your place and then give them privacy. Would have been nice to have met a lawyer that would have told me I could have had a chance in a custody hearing. At the time all of the advice I got was to not mess with the situation and be happy that I got to see my son at all, even if it was only a couple times a month and on the holidays. Regardless of his situation, he's grown up to be awesome, but I missed a lot of great events because of this. Not a parent myself yet, but I was a firstborn child with Asperger's growing up, and anytime I acted up it was always met with a spanking beating as if that'll make the autism go away. As much as they busted their asses with work and providing us a good home, they have always used authority and violence to get us to do what is asked or behave as if their crap first-hand parenting skills weren't the problem. I'm 24 now and can take care of myself, and my parents have greatly improved as people overall, but it's too hard for me to forgive them for what was already done. Once I become a parent myself, I will not be anything like they were and will strive to be the best version a parent can be. I will treat my kids with respect, give them trust, talk to them, see them as the human they are, and anything my parents lacked raising my siblings and I understand there's so much more to parenting that I can't grasp at the moment, but I will be ready and prepare myself for anything once that day comes. My dude, I'm a teen. Literally I got treated the same way, beatings etc, but I don't have Asperger's. My only wish in life is to give my children, if I have any, the life and love I never had. Good luck, my dude. Mum to 2 teenagers. I was a wild teenager myself and spent pretty much all of it feeling like a complete failure. So what was really important to me when I was bringing up mine as teenagers? Doing sports and working at something, especially team sports. I never got them to do it for the winning, but the enjoyment. As long as you're not a pushy parent and they learn things don't just happen overnight. They felt a great sense of achievement when they could see that. They will get themselves into sticky situations. Don't ever let them feel like they haven't got an adult to turn to. This stems from getting drunk one night. The thing is, I'd never drunk before. I had scarily too much and I didn't understand. All I remember is my mum calling me a yes. I'd learned my lesson because I was much more careful, but she was so angry at me. I always said to my children if they ever found themselves in a situation, never to feel like they couldn't call on me. We even had a code word in case they felt uncomfortable or unsafe. For example, their friends were doing things out of their depth. Teenagers do stupid things. They are wired to take risks. Warn them of the risks, but it can be scary. I never wanted mine to feel alone. Being too strict can have a negative effect. Learned from friend who became drug dealer. By always teaching them that people are negative to them where it seems uncalled for, are unhappy, and to see that is not their issue. Don't get me wrong. I argued with my daughter and didn't always handle things great, and I shouldn't have stayed with their dad for as long as I did, and I feel sad in that way. But I am always staggered how great both of them are and how amazing they have been. People complain about the young, but I only wish I could be half the person my children have turned out to be. I was a mess when I was their age. My daughter is at uni. I was so for surfing at that stage. I'm not a parent, but I wish my mom treated us siblings equally. Like she always say that I'm the smarter one. I get high grades, but once the exams are over, I forget them instantly as if nothing happened. That's why I have to adjust to my sister's lackings. Or when she compares them to me like they should be good as I am, if not better, but I find that so hard because I am me and they are them. Each of us has different personalities and perspectives. Don't use cleaning as a form of punishment. Your kids will rarely clean again, and when asked to pitch in will be resentful and surly the entire time because they think they are being punished. I'm a teenager, I guess, but if y'all are parents here looking for advice and such, I guess I'll be able to help. Stop unintentionally punishing good behavior. My dad does this often, and it makes me not want to go to his house. For example, I spent a ton of my time helping my dad stain the deck and did this without him asking. Instead of him thanking me for the help and leaving it at that, he would say things like, "I'm grateful for the help, but I wish you and your brother, who did nothing all week, would do this more," which made me feel like what I did was not enough and I should have done more. Another thing that got mentioned up there: stop viewing your children as one entity. We are completely different people and deserve to be treated as such. I wish you guys the best of luck. I know we can be difficult at times, but it'll hopefully be worth it in the end. Listen, I don't care whose fault it is. If you don't be quiet back there, I swear to God I will turn this car right around. I just wish my neighbors would stop screaming at their kid for so long. Like, what is there even to discuss with an 8-year-old? On a very rare occasion, because I said so might have to be good enough, but 99% of the time take the time to discuss whatever the decision is in front of them, weigh out the pros and cons and make them defend their decision with solid arguments if it's opposite yours. Related, teach them how to make a solid argument, regardless of the topic. Can you defend your position? Can you argue the opposite side? Can you remove emotion from what you're arguing about? Love them, no matter what, and tell them this often. Let them eat the consequences of their bad decisions. More important than grades or making the varsity ball team, teach them that being kind to others is most important. I start this early in elementary school in parent-teacher conferences when the first question out if my mouth is, are they kind to their classmates? Good friends are absolutely critical. As a parent, your influence starts to seriously wane around ages 13-15. The friends they pick will have much more sway. Encourage them in this direction. Teach them life skills, the miracle of compound interest, credit scores, budgets, how to cook simple meals, laundry, etc. Keep your commitments the best you can. If you make the team but are riding the bench and all bent out of shape about how unfair the coach is, suck it up and stick out the season. 90% of life is showing up. Show up to your job, on time. This also includes turning in your homework. If you turn in what you're supposed to, on time, it's very likely your grades will be above average, of course, barring some significant learning disability. Pray for them, by name. I'm a teen, but one thing I wish my dad did was not degrade and scream me on every mistake, even if it was just getting a little peanut butter on the counter. I do also selfishly wish he recognized his own mental health issues and got the help he needed so I wouldn't have mental health issues as well. I'm 26 now, but I was a functional teen in college due to some things my dad did. When I turned 15, he pretty much dropped a lot of restrictions in my life growing up. I made my dinner, I did my laundry, and heck, I ultimately decided if I went to school or did homework or did well in class. I suppose this can depend on the teenager, but for me, having no barriers allowed me to develop my own habits for success in the long term. I sometimes slept 4 hours a night and passed out in class. I got written up for it, and my dad never said anything about it, unless it was really bad, and he would gently point out how something looked detrimental and to think about changing what I did. It was only ever a suggestion though. If I wanted to eat only ice cream each day for dinner, I could, and I felt like garbage. Eventually I made a bunch of dumb mistakes, but in high school you have the time and freedom to do that. I had bad grades from never doing homework. I got sick from eating only garbage food. I didn't have clothes from not doing my laundry. I was even in charge of doctor appointments for myself. Anyways, you get the picture. By the end of my junior year I got my stuff together and decided I wanted to be successful and responsible for me, and I did. I graduated. I even still got scholarships for college. A lot of them surprisingly only care about junior-senior grades anyways, and went to university despite some pretty bad grades my sophomore year. High school since then hasn't mattered for me. College never really goes away. My peers in contrast started to experiment like I did, but they did it in college when consequences were more severe while I already went through it in high school. Some decided to skip class. Others got sick from eating only Doritos. Others never figured out how to get in the flow from doing laundry. These seem like simple tasks, but there's a period of floundering around if your parents always have done it for you. All of this usually resulted in some pretty bad starts in college, and it's hard to get a grasp because so much changes in such a short time. Living alone for the first time, possibly a new city. It's overwhelming. So my advice is let your teenager fail in high school while it doesn't matter as much, and you're around to gently guide them. Otherwise, they are going to go off to college without proper habits and you won't be around to help, and it's going to be pretty bad. I even knew 20-year-olds in college who didn't know how to make doctor appointments because their parents always did it for them. Don't let it get to that point. Let them develop as adults as much as they can while they have safeguards before they actually leave the nest. My 38-year-old soon-to-be ex hasn't mastered this yet. My son is only a toddler, but there's one thing my parents did for me that I absolutely plan to repeat. They always assured me that if I was ever in trouble and needed help, for absolutely anything, they would be there for me, no questions asked, and that they would be supportive and not punitive. I put that to the test a couple of times, calling my dad when my friend's house party got out of control and he was blackout drunk, and some other scary situations, and they always came through. It's incredible to think that I knew my parents had my back no matter what rules I had broken or stupid decision I had made, and being able to call them definitely saved my butt a few times. Another view from a teenager. I wish that my parents didn't force me to talk more. I'm a silent type of person who does his work and wants to be left in solitude, a lot like my father. I feel that my words are fake and I feel as if I'm conceited in this regard. That is a very annoying trait of mine according to my parents, my mother especially, as I don't react to anything in any particular manner. I was always like this, but recent years have accentuated this trait. She says that I'll be left behind if I stay like this, in this cutthroat world. I never understood why though. I also suppressed my emotions, not to be a macho man, but to keep my vision from clouding from tears. I have this bizarre attribute that I start tearing up when I feel any emotions strongly, and I hate that. This trait of mine has also become a part of my non-reactiveness. Fixing the older one's teeth. I'm not the parent but rather the younger brother, and dad told this to me lately with fully regret. When my older brother was young they were running away from war and then they got to our current country. They were poor for a few years. Older brother is beautiful but his teeth are messed up. Years go by. Older brother has remarkable achievements everywhere he gets to. Was a commander in the special forces. Got to be a manager of sales team in EU in the moment he finished the army. Starts uni, and very fast he gets a prestige job in the bank of the state. Has very serious relationship for years now. All of this, and his teeth look like heck. My father is certain that it puts roadblocks in his path. I don't have children yet, but this is what I wished my parents had done. 1. Show up to at least one of my school basketball games. It would have been nice to see my folks cheer me. 2. Be supportive instead of critical when I get a low grade back in my report card. I tried to do well in class and it shows from my other subjects. Yelling, screaming, and telling me that my hobbies is what is destroying my grade is not the proper solution. I would rather you helped me with the problem rather than insulting me. 3. Please don't call my dreams stupid and irresponsible. I told you I wanted to become a teacher, but that isn't good enough. You wanted me to be a doctor. I can't. Okay. I tried to get the grades to be a doctor and I can't. Why can't you guys see that my best efforts are not enough to be a doctor? 4. Please don't criticize my friends who have family issues or lacking the proper grades. They are my friends for a reason, and for you to tell me not to hang out with them based on their family problems or their grades is unfair and unjust. I don't ask you to stop hanging out with that one guy who divorced his wife for another woman. So what if one of my friends lives with his grandma while his parents try to work things out? 5. Don't be angry when your child does their best. We're humans too. We raised my son speaking only Spanish while living in the Netherlands because, according to his mother, he would pick up Dutch very quickly in school and he wanted him to be able to communicate with his grandma who only speaks Spanish. Dumbass that I agreed. He had a very rough first 4 years at school and I took a very long time to communicate with my side of the family because they did not speak Spanish. He is 18 now and only speaks to his Chilean grandma once a year for about 2 minutes. Looking back, I would have worked 3 jobs if it meant putting my son in daycare instead of leaving him with family members. They never told him no about anything, did whatever he wanted, and bought him anything he wanted. He never saw my parents do chores, sit and watch TV, or do anything else that wasn't fun time. Whenever he came home, he was a spoiled, entitled kid. He thought me and his dad were the bad guys because we had rules and didn't make every minute revolve around him. We just couldn't compete with the grandparents. I don't see anything wrong with grandparents spoiling the kids, but not if they are around them every day. So that's what I would change. I'd teach him about hard work and playtime, both having a time and place, and that every minute of every day can't be all about leisure activities. Now that he's a teenager, it's only getting harder. He still has daily meltdowns and tantrums. He's been in therapy. He has no drive and refuses to work hard because the grandparents always made everything so easy for him. And he thought all they ever did was play because he never saw them at work. It's been rough. Something I wish my parent did with me and what I'm not going to do with my daughter when she's here is yell and degrade them. Never call them stupid or a retard or a B or a S. Through your teenage years, you have to make mistakes. It's how you learn and how you grow. I wish I had read the book entitled Yes, Your Teenager is Crazy, full of excellent advice for keeping him on track, and explanations for why they think the way they do. I'm a teen, but something that really bothers me is my mom almost never lets me be right and interrupts me a lot when I'm talking. Even if I'm right, I'm wrong kind of thing. Sometimes I'm so frustrated at her that I don't even fight her anymore, I just cry. I wish that I wasn't wrong all the time. I'm turning 18 in a few months, so I hope that the verbal fighting will be less. You're right in saying this. She sounds like she's often unreasonable, but also show yourself to be angry. I'm not saying take it out on anything, but processing emotions is necessary as to not develop our mental health at even complexes. I'm a teen. Wish my parents would stop telling me XXX is my fault. Go talk to my siblings. They're here too. Or negatively stereotyping me as an emo angsty goth. I do enjoy the freedom they give me though. I don't have them going through my search history or breathing down my neck about grades, which kind of motivates me to study harder and not visit dubious sites. I wish my parents gave me some guidance instead of saying do whatever you want. Thanks for the freedom, but where do I start? How? Who do I ask? How do I make it happen? I guess I had it better than others, but I was always pretty lost and I wasn't advancing in anything. I would start a project, do research, and when I didn't know how to continue I would just stop because doing whatever I want didn't give me the answers or showed me the way. I feel like my parents threw me into the jungle and expected me to find the way out myself. My son is about to graduate. Never been in trouble. Never screamed at us. Never blew up over nothing, not counting online games. He does his chores, sometimes with a few reminders, and never got brought home by the police. He's gotten 1 semester of straight A's, and the rest were varying grades throughout the years. He has no plan for the future, and is not going to go to college, yet. Maybe he'll think of something. I think our only regret would limit his screen time. He spends a lot of time on the PC, just like his dad. Me, I don't like sports or outdoor activities. I hate crowds and find theme parks to be a waste of time and money. Camping is out of the question. Mom and grandpa take him fishing. Sometimes. I dunno. He's such a good kid. It makes me feel like a great parent. Do what we did. Folks, talk to your kids instead of screaming at them. Explain instead of order. Don't shelter them from the world. Instead teach them about it. Trust them to make the right decisions because you taught them to problem solve and to think before acting. If he turned out okay, I don't see why you would want to limit his screen time. I had a ton of screen time as a kid, and it led me to study computer science and start an excellent career as an adult. A great example of mistakes would be my parents letting me make a big mistake. I wanted to live with my best friends from the dorm freshman year of college, and although they were against it, my parents still let me do it. I am no longer friends with them, and it really hurt for a while with everything that happened, but I'm glad my parents let me learn that lesson. I wouldn't be the person I am now without it. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.